For this pattern, I'm going to be using DK cotton yarn in contrast color. This is optional. I just want to mix up colors. So you can use only one color if you want, just follow the pattern as is. Or you can use multiple colors. So we're also going to need 3.5mm hook. Please check the description for gauge information or visit www.Craftee to find out more information about the project. I'm going to start with a chain of 77. This is for the medium size, okay? 77 chains. 77 stitches done, chains done, and skip the first chain and single crochet into the next chain. I am working into the back bump of the chain stitches. So this is the right side of the stitch and this is the wrong side of the stitch. So I'm working into those tiny bumps, those little bumps at the back. So I'm going to do single crochet into each of these stitches. Into each of the chains. And that's the end of row 1. Row 2, chain 1, 2, and turn. Now for this row, row 2 counts as the first stitch. On row 2 we will be increasing. So we chain 2 into the very first stitch, which was the last stitch. On row 1 we will do a double crochet. Alright, so now that is 2 stitches. That means this double crochet we just completed and the chain 2 right at the side. Now we're going to do a double crochet into each of the stitches, and at the end, in the last stitch, we will do 2 double crochets as well. And we're going to end the row with 2 double crochets. Into that last stitch, right? Chain 1 and turn. So for this, we're going to do single crochet on row 3. We're going to go in between the stitches. So remember we began with 77 chains and we did 76 stitches on row 1 because we skipped the first stitch. So now we've added 2 more stitches on row 2. That means we have 78. At the end of row 3 we will also have 78 stitches because we are not increasing on the single crochet row. Alright, so let's start by going in between. We'll work the single crochet stitches in between the half double crochet stitches. Alright, so that's one, the first stitch right here. Instead of going here, no, we will go in between the post crochet. So at the end of row 3 you should have 78 stitches. That is for the medium size. Okay, we are at the end of the row, so you will notice that by the time you have this double crochet and the chain 2, you have 76 stitches. So we'll make the next one into the space here between this double crochet and the chain 2. So this will be the 77th stitch, and we will finish with the 78th stitch into the top of this chain 2. Remember that we did that chain 2 when we were going to work row 2. So we will finish the 78th stitch right in there. Alright, let's proceed to row 3. Row 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chain 2 again because we're still increasing. Turn and double crochet into the very first stitch, which was the last one on row 3. So what we're doing now is repeating row 2. Okay, so let's do that again. Double crochet into each of the stitches across, and into the last stitch we will do 2 double crochets as well. Alright, I will see you at the end of the row. Okay, we are at the end of the row again, and 2 double crochets will go in there into the last stitch. Chain 1, turn. We're going to be repeating another row 3, which is single crochets into the spaces in between in between the posts of the stitches. Okay, single crochet, and the next single crochet. Okay, we want to do this across the row. And we're going to finish row 5 now. Single crochet into in between the stitches and single crochet into the top of chain 2. We're going to do another increase of double crochet stitches. Chain 2, turn, double crochet into the first stitch. So this is the last row of increase for the double crochet. After that we will do another single crochet row just like we've done for the others, and I'll see you at the end of, let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So I'll see you at the end of row 7. So what you want to do now is just repeat rows 5 and 6. Okay, we're done increasing, and now we're going to be making even rows. So chain 1 2. This time around, this chain 2 stands as the first double crochet. So the next double crochet will be in this next stitch, alright, not in here because we're not increasing anymore. So we'll go into the next stitch to make the second double crochet. We're going to do this double crochet into each of the stitches across. Okay, we have completed this row. Chain 1, turn, single crochet into each of these stitches. Remember that we're doing a single crochet between the posts, right? So single crochet, and we're at the end of row 9. So make the last 2 stitches and into the top of chain 2. Now chain 2 again, and double crochet into each of the stitches across. Remember that we're not increasing, so the second stitch will begin in the second stitch, because chain 2 counts as the first double crochet on the row. Okay, so 1 stitch already, now double crochet into the next stitch. So we're going to repeat this a couple of times. That is the double crochet and the single crochet stitches. However, for the next single crochet row, I need to show you something so that you can repeat that as you progress with the body of the top. So I'll see you at the end of row 10. So I am at the end of row 11 now, because this is a single crochet row. Okay, the last video showed you the double crochet, okay, which is let me see, 2 4 6 8 10, which was row 10. Now I'm on row 11 working the single crochet stitches, and when we end this one we want to go into the top of the stitch, okay, as opposed to going in between the stitches. So we'll go into the top of the second to last stitch, and we will finish off with single crochet into the top of chain 2. Now the reason for this is to kind of create a balance between these spaces that we'll be making as we proceed with the rows. So while we're making this single crochet in the spaces, I mean in between the posts, for the next row of single crochet we will alternate and make the second to the last stitch into the top of the stitch rather than in between. So we just keep alternating this row, you know, just for a good aesthetic, so that all the stitches, all the rows won't have this wide space between them when we join both the front and back panels. See that? So that's just what I would suggest you do. Alternate where you place the single crochet stitches when you have the last 2 stitches left for each row. So now we want to continue to make more double crochet and single crochet stitches. Please refer to the written pattern to know how many more rows you need to make before we shape out the armhole. Alright, I'll see you later. Okay, now we are on row 46, and just before we begin to curve the fabric for the armhole, we're going to add a new color. So I'm going to be showing you the second panel, which I'm working simultaneously with the other panel. So we've changed the color at this point here. Now this is row 46, pardon, row 47. So depending on the size that you're making, the row will be different, might be different from what we're doing here, but not to worry, all of that will be documented in the written pattern. Of course, this is also an optional feature. You do not have to use 2 colors. You can use just 1 color if that is your preference. Okay, so we're going to join this, finish that last single crochet on row 47, and I will chain 2 and turn. So remember that the chain 2 stands for the very first double crochet on the row. So let's drop that and continue the next row of double crochet stitches. So chain 2 already done, and now, so what I'm going to do now is 2 rows of stitches. This row of double crochet stitches and another row of single crochet stitches. So right now we're working row 48. I'm going to complete the row. I will chain 1 and turn and make another row, make a single crochet row. At the end of that single crochet row, I'm going to change the yarn again to the very first one, the yellow. So I'm going to repeat this across the row and turn and make another single crochet row, and I will see you at the end of the single crochet row. Alright, we're progressing. I'm going to make the last single crochet here, and I will pick up my color again. Okay, and there goes it. So 1 chain 2, turn, another row of double crochet stitches. Remember that this row is still the same as what we've done for all the rows. The only difference here is we changed colors. So every 2 rows of double crochet and single crochet will be a different color, alternating the color. That is if you are also using 2 colors. Okay, row 50, I'm going to make another row of double crochet stitches. After this row, I'll begin to decrease for the armhole. So please note that this is for only this size. Other sizes will have their own rows where you begin the decrease. So please ensure to check the written pattern. Row 50 done. Now chain 1 and turn. We are going to begin to decrease now. We're going to decrease across the first 3 stitches and the last 3 stitches with a single crochet. So we will skip this very first stitch and go into the next stitch and into the next stitch, all right, and decrease. And now we will make single crochets across each of the stitches. I will see you at the end of the row where we have to do another decrease across 3 stitches. Alright, we have 3 stitches left at the end of the row, which are these ones, 1, 2, and the chain 2, 3. So we're going to decrease by going into between the posts there and the very top of the chain 2. Okay, because I am changing colors, I'm going to finish with the contrast color. Okay, chain 2, turn. Now this row will be all double crochet rows. We will not decrease. So after that I will okay, double crochet into the next stitch, and into each of the stitches across. Okay, after this we're going to decrease again, and this time we're going to decrease again across 3 stitches. Chain 1, skip the first stitch, which would be here, right, and we will go in here and in here to do the decrease. Yeah, after we do the decrease, we will continue with single crochets into each of the stitches across. Alright, and we will also decrease again at the end of the last 3 stitches. So let us repeat single crochets into each of these stitches across the row. Okay, we're here now, and we're going to decrease with across 1, 2, 3. Remember, we have a chain 2 here, which counts as 1 stitch. So I'm going to decrease across 3 stitches. Okay, and this time around I'm going to, let's see how we did it before. Okay, right in here, and I went into the top of the chain 2. I'm going to do a similar thing here also, and into the top of the chain 2 we go. And I will finish with the other color because I am using 2 colors. So let's go 1 and 2. So you understand what we did there? We decreased across 3 stitches just like we did for the previous single crochet row. Okay, now let us proceed to making double crochet stitches across. Remember, the double crochet rows do not have decreases. We are only decreasing on the single crochet rows. So I'm going to do this across, and I will see you on the next single crochet row where we will be decreasing again. Here we are again. Chain 1 and turn. About to do another row of single crochet stitches. Now it's going to be slightly different. It's going to be different from the first two times. The first two times we decreased across 3 stitches. The second time again across 3 stitches. This time and going forward we'll decrease only across two stitches. So that will be this stitch right here and this stitch right here. Okay, so what we want to do, we've chained 1, right, and we've turned. So instead of going in here like I would do because it's the first one, I'll just go straight in here because it is the second stitch, and because we're also working between the posts of the double crochet stitches. So single crochet in there, skip the very first one, single crochet in there, single crochet into each of the stitches across. We'll also decrease at the end of the row. We'll decrease across 2 stitches, right? It is time to decrease again. So now we have 3 stitches, 1, 2 and 3. This chain 2 at the side, right? So I'll make another single crochet first. Remember, we're decreasing across 2 stitches only, and I will go in here into the space right here. Well, not space per se, but I mean between this stitch and the chain 2, and do the last stitch in there. Okay, keep forgetting to change. That's because I'm using 2 colors. Ensure that this is not pulled too. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, I want to ensure that the space on top, the gap on top is not gaping, is not too wide. Okay, I think we got that. Now chain 1, 2 and another row of double crochet stitches. So you see what we did on this row? This row we decreased across only 2 stitches as opposed to this single crochet row and this other single crochet row. So this is across 3 stitches, across 3 stitches, and this is across 2 stitches. And going forward we'll also be decreasing across 2 stitches only. That is for the single crochet rows only. Okay, chain 2, turn, do another row of double crochet stitches. So we have that already. Our chain 2 is the very first stitch there, and we will continue with our double crochet, and after that we will do another decrease row of single crochet stitches. So repeat this and I will see you at the end of the row. Chain 1 and turn. Make another decrease row of single crochet stitches. Skip the first stitch and single crochet into the next stitch and each stitch across. And I'm going to, so we have 1, 2, 3 left, so chain 2 and these 2 stitches, so that's 3 stitches, single crochet, and finish off in the last stitch. I'm going to do the last single crochet into the top of chain 2. I'm going to decrease these 2 stitches. or I will just decrease in here into the stitch. Okay, so we have that. Oops, let me pick up chain 2 and turn. So you see, we will now begin, we will now repeat the last 2 rows we just did. We will do double crochet rows without decreases, and we will do single crochet rows with decreases. So we will repeat this up to a certain point, and I will meet you at the number of rows that you need to be making. So please check the written tutorial, okay, for the number of rows you need to be making for your own size. Alright. Okay, so right now I've done 86 rows of stitches, okay, and decreased up to the point where I need to stop. So the decreased rows on this size are 36 rows. That's counting both the single crochet rows and the double crochet rows, but of course we are only decreasing on the single crochet rows. So stopping here, 36 rows of decreased rows at the sides. Now I'm going to repeat what I have done here on the second panel. Now this is the front panel. I'm going to repeat that on the second panel with a bit of a difference for the second panel. The decrease is the same. We're going to still be decreasing from the single crochet rows only. However, when we get up to this point here, which I will also note in the written pattern, we're going to create a slit here, all right? That is for the back panel. So I'm just going to repeat this. I'll repeat this up to this point, and when I get here, I will still decrease, but I will create a space in the center here. We will do that together, all right? But for now, let's repeat what we've done so far, the decreases, okay, the number of rows. Let's repeat that. Refer to the written pattern for the number of rows you need to do before you make the split for the back panel. Okay, so I'm going to repeat this, and I will see you where we need to begin to make the split for the back panel. Alright, here we are. Now we have the back panel, and I am about to separate. Now this is the front panel, just showing you this for reference. So here's the back panel, and I have I'm at the row where I need to split the body. So I'm just going to continue. I have marked it, so you will see that you need I'm saying you need the same number of stitches you have here, or the same number of stitches you have on the other side. And then in the middle there are 2 stitches which will be skipped. Alright, so in the written pattern you will see the row that you should make the split. So the numbers that we have on either side will definitely be different for each size, but the row will be noted in the written pattern. But you just know that you need to have 2 stitches in the middle. So I'm going to do a double crochet row now. So I will continue. I already changed 2, and I will continue to do a double crochet. Alright, so I've done the stitches up to this, up to the mark, and chain 1 and turn. And into the very first stitch I'll go. So when we go back on the side, we're not decreasing, alright? Even though it's a single crochet row and it's the beginning of another row, we're not decreasing here. Rather, we will decrease at the end of the row. So single crochet into the first stitch. Remember that our single crochets are done between the stitches, okay, not into the top of the stitch. So single crochet, okay, 2 stitches left, which is this and the chain 2. So we'll just go in, and instead of working here, we just go in to the top of the chain 2. We're decreasing, right? So let's decrease into the top of chain 2, and because I am, using 2 colors, I'm going to change now. And chain 2, turn. Okay, another row of stitches. That is double crochet stitch. So chain 2 counts for the very first stitch. We will go into the next stitch, double crochet, double crochet, double crochet into each of the stitches across. So let's do double crochet, and I will see you at the end of the row. And single crochet into the very last stitch. Remember, we have this single crochet from the previous row. So double crochet, okay, not single crochet, because we're doing double crochets. So double crochet into the very last stitch there. Chain 1 and turn. Another row of single crochet stitches. Okay, single crochet into each of the stitches across, and we will decrease at the end of the row. And if you are using changing colors, you will join the color at the end of the row. And time to decrease. Let's decrease into the top of the chain 2, and I'll drop it and pick up the second contrast color. Chain 2, turn. So you see, so you want to repeat this, okay, what we've done on this row, want to repeat it until you have the same number of rows as for the front panel. So we let's see, I'm gonna raise it up. So right now I have to do 2, 4, 6, and then 7 rows to complete the rows. So just repeat this. When we finish, and we'll come back and we will work the other side. Alright, this side has been completed. Same number of rows as the front panel. And I'm going to snip this because I need it. Now we're going to continue on this side. We're going to continue with the last row, the wrong side of the last row facing us, because, well, on this side, the double crochet row, the right side is facing us, so we want that to be the same. So we want to go into the chain that's been marked. Remember that we need 2 stitches in the middle here. We need to skip 2 stitches in the middle here. Okay. And I will chain 1, 2. This counts as the very first double crochet on the row. And let's do, okay, I need to carry this tail along. Okay, and double crochet into the next stitch, right? Because this chain 2 counts as the first double crochet. We'll do double crochet across. We're going to have, on this one, we have 27 stitches across. Okay, so it varies for each size. And double crochet into the last stitch. Remember that on double crochet rows we do not decrease. Okay, chain 1 and turn. Skip the first stitch because we're decreasing. Skip this and go into the next one. Single crochet into each stitch of the row. We have 2 stitches left, this stitch and the chain 2. Okay, so we're going to go in between the stitch and the chain 2, and we will go again into the top of chain 2. We will make the last stitch, because remember, we are not decreasing on this side, we're only decreasing on the outer edges. Okay, and I am going to join the main color. Chain 1, 2 and turn. So our chain 2 is the first double crochet on this row, and into, okay, where is our last? Okay, our last stitch is right here, this one here, and I'm going to continue double crochet in the next stitch. And double crochet into each of the stitches across the row. Chain 1 and turn. Single crochet into the next stitch. So we're decreasing, right? Because we're on the side. So we're decreasing. Skip the very first stitch and single crochet into the next stitch and into each of the stitches across. Alright, and 2 stitches left, single crochet in that space between the solid stitch and the chain 2, and 1 more stitch into the top of chain 2. We are done with this row and we'll proceed to the next row. Okay, chain 2 again, and repeat these 2 rows, the double crochet row and the single crochet row, remembering to decrease at the sides. Okay, and we'll do that up to have the same number of rows as the other side. So I'm going to see you at the end of all the rows, and we will join the panels. Okay, this is completed. Now we're going to join the panels. Okay, we're joining 2 panels. Now I want you to note the right side and the wrong side. The right side of this fabric is the right side of the single crochet stitches. What that means is the wrong side of the double crochet stitches will be facing out. That's how it will be worn. That's the design for this. So I'm going to close them up. So I'm going to sew them with the right side of the double crochet facing up, and the other part, the right side of, the right side of the double crochet facing down. So this one double crochet facing up, this one back panel double crochet is facing down. So we're going to join them at the sides. So just make sure that the stitch, this is double crochet row before the decrease, the single crochet decrease there. So you want to make sure that you're joining them. Okay, decrease row, both the decrease row all the way down. The same thing here, both the decrease row, the very first decrease row, all the way down. Okay, once we finish that, we will then trim the armhole. Let me quickly mention that when you close up the sides, you know, we have this curved part here, so we're not going to close this curved part, okay? Just from here where we began the even rows all the way up to this point where we have the decrease, I mean where we began the decrease rows, okay? So here will be left unjoined. Now that we're done joining sides, we're going to trim this edge. Now we want to start. So this is the front panel with the right side of the top facing us. We will start in this very stitch here, this single crochet stitch, okay, where the decrease began. I still have my stitch marker in there. I will chain 1, and now I'm going to go into the next row. So what we want to do now is into each row we will do slip stitches. So I will go to the next row, which is a double crochet row, slip stitch. The next row is a single crochet row. I will do a slip stitch in there also. The next row, double crochet, slip stitch. Next row, single crochet, slip stitch. Okay, we want to continue to do slip stitches into each of the rows. Alright, let's repeat this, and I'll see you at the very end here. Alright, we're at the top here after all the slip stitches on the sides, and we're going to chain 18. It's going to be different for each the sizes, okay? Some will be 18, some will be more than 18, so please refer to the written pattern. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, once I finish that, I'm going to be careful not to twist, and I'll go into the next row on the back panel and do a slip stitch. Alright, you see that? Now we're going to continue to do slip stitches into each of the rows. Slip stitch. So let's carry on doing slip stitches, and I will see you at the end of I'll see you at the end of the round, okay? Here. Alright, so now I am at the very last, in fact I have done the last slip stitch into the last single crochet on the back panel. Alright, that single crochet row that was the first decrease for the armhole. Okay, once we do that, now we want to go back into the very first, this one again, this same stitch row, single crochet stitch row where we started from. We're going to do our last slip stitch in there to close it up. Okay, now once that is done, we will chain 1, Now we'll begin to work single crochet stitches into the slip stitches. So we want to go, let me take this out. Now we want to go, remember we have this chain one from here, right, where we join. So no, that's not what we're going to start from. We're going to start from this very one, this second one on the double crochet row. Okay, so I will go right under both loops of the slip stitch and do single crochet under both loops, single crochet under both loops. Okay, there we go. So this is what we're going to do into each of the slip stitches. Okay, so let's do single crochets, okay, into the slip stitches, under both loops of the slip stitches. Okay, so we've done the whole stretch. Now we're heading to the chains. What we want to do now is you want to be working into the back bump here, okay, behind the loops, okay, this tiny back bump there. We want to work into all this. Ordinarily we will work into, just go straight into the chain like this, but we're not doing that. Okay, we're just going to the back, these tiny little bumps here. We'll do single crochet into each of them. Okay, so go ahead and repeat this single crochet into each of the chains. And now let's continue to do our single crochets into the slip stitches. Remember, under both loops. Alright, let's do that all the way to the bottom. Okay, after the last single crochet has been made, I'm going to join it into this stitch right here. Now this stitch is, or rather was the last slip stitch we did to connect, to join the slip stitch row. That's the first row. So I'm going to go in there now and join again, okay, and chain one. So we will be making single crochets now into each of the rows. So single crochet into the first stitch. You know, to help you, you may want to put a stitch marker at in this chain one here, because in this chain one, this is where we will join when we finish, when we complete this third row of round, of single crochet stitches. Okay, and single crochet into each of the stitches around. Okay, now we're closing up our row 3. We'll join into the chain one, alright, from the previous joining. chain 1 again, and we will start another round of single crochet stitches. This is the last round, round 4. Right, single crochet into the very first stitch, which is the very first single crochet into the next, and into the next, and into the next stitch. Let's do this around, and when we come back we will join again into the chain 1 there. After we do this part, we will go and we'll do the same thing on this side. Difference is we will go from back to front, and after that we're going to also trim the neck area, the back as well. Alright, so let's repeat round 4, and we will start this together, okay? Alright, let's join into the chain 1. There we go. So we're going to weave this in later. All done. Now let's head on to second part. So I'm just going to do the beginning of this with you, and leave you to do the remaining rows, because it's basically the same thing we've done here that we're repeating on the other side. So let's start by joining our yarn into the single crochet row right here. And we will chain 1, and now we will start our slip stitches in the next row. So 1 slip stitch into each of the stitch rows. Okay, try not to make your slip stitches too tight or too loose, because we will come back to work into them. Now let's chain 18. Being careful not to twist. And join it in here. Okay, there we go, and let's continue our slip stitches. Alright, and the last slip stitch into the last single crochet row there, which was the decrease from before. Okay, there we go. Now let's join into the very same stitch right here where we began. Okay, chain 1. Now we will start our single crochets into the stitches. We'll start in here. This is chain 1 from when we joined, alright? So not in there, rather into this slip stitch right here. Okay, I'm going to place my stitch marker back into this chain 1, because this is where we're going to join afterwards. So I'm going to leave you from here to complete the next 3 rows of single crochet stitches. After that I'll come back, and then we will work on the neckline together. Alright, here we are. We are almost completing this. So we have completed each side of the armhole. Now we want to trim the neckline, and this part as well, where we will have a button for this place. So we will start. Now this is the right side facing us, okay? Excuse me. We will join our yarn in here. We'll start from the very first row here. We want to start with slip stitches on this side. So here we go. We will go in here first. Yep. And I will chain 1. Okay. And now let's continue to make slip stitches. This is the next stitch row, and the next slip stitch. And we are on the last stitch row, okay? That is the one that we started immediately after we split the stitches. So 1 slip stitch in that last stitch, okay? So we have these 2 right here at the bottom. Look, it looks like there are 4, right? Because we have this stitch, but this one is where this stitch right is. This is 1, 2, the ones that we skipped, and this is another one where we have this other stitch, okay? So we're not working into this one or this one. No, we're not doing that. So after that last slip stitch, then we will now go into this very 2 here at the bottom. Okay, all right, and we're gonna continue on the sides again. Okay, the first row here, and here. Okay, so let's continue to do that. Here we are. Now we're going to do the last slip stitch in this okay, on the last row here, and there we go. And now we want to begin to do our single crochet stitches. So I'm going to chain 1, okay? After doing the last slip stitch on here, I will chain 1, and I will begin the single crochet stitches in here. Ordinarily I would have done it here, right? But I just chained 1 for that. So we'll start in here, the next stitch, single crochet, and remember that we're doing our single crochets in between the stitches, not in the top of the stitch. So let's do our single crochets. Alright, now at the corner we're going to use a taller stitch, which is the double crochet. So which we'll be doing a DC2 together. So in here, okay, that very last space, we go, and over again, and we will connect it to the handle here. We'll connect it in the very first stitch. So remember that we worked into the back bumps, right? We worked into the back bumps when we were doing the single crochets on this side. So what you want to do now is use these loops, these two loops up here, as a guide to know where to be working into. So let's finish our DC2 together. Okay, you see that? If it's a bit confusing, you can reduce the playback speed of this video or just rewind to see it again. Now we will continue with single crochet stitches. Now this double crochet together, DC2 together, was only done at the corner. Okay, it's only done at the corner. So I'm just going to do single crochet now into each of the stitches. And like I said, you want to use these loops at the bottom here to figure out the stitches you should be working into. Where you should work into. So we're working under both loops of the stitches. It's like working into a stitch upside down. Yep. Okay, we are here again, another corner. So one more single crochet, and we have the last one here. Alright, so it's time to do another DC2 together. I'm gonna go in there. Okay, and we finish, and yarn over, and I'll go into the next one here, okay, which is connecting to the front. And finish. There goes. Let's carry on with single crochet into the next stitch, and each of stitches across. Let's do single crochets across, and we'll do another double crochet decrease on here. Right, we're at the corner again, and another double crochet, two together, okay, into the last space there, and connect to the very first stitch on the handle. Okay, there we go. Single crochet, okay, another decrease, yeah, so double crochet, single crochet to the next, here we are. Okay, so from what we can see here now, we have this last stitch, which means we should do a single crochet in here. But remember, on this side we did a chain 1, right? But for here we're going to do a single crochet. And now we want to make the loop for the button. So the number of chains you make for the loop will is determined by the size of the button. What am I saying? Sorry. The width of the loop is determined by the size of the button. I mean, I have a very tiny button here, so I'm just going to make 3 chains for the loop, 3 to 4 chains. I will recommend no more than 5 chains, okay? And you know, you don't really need a big button to place on the other side. So let's make our chain. 1, 2, 3. Let me see. 3 looks like it's very tiny, so I'm going to make 4. Okay, we're going to chain 4, and I'm chain 4 now. Now we're still on this side, on this very last row, and I'll make a slip stitch in there. Alright, see that? After the single crochet, I'm chaining 4 and making a slip stitch into the same stitch row. Once that is done, now we're going to work into the slip stitches, just like we did for the armhole. We're going to do the same for here. I might have made this a little too tight, but yeah, just going to take my time to work into each of the slip stitches. It's a bit of a camouflage here because the color is the same, the yellow and the yellow, so it's a bit tricky to really see the stitch. But that's why I said when you're doing this part, you just take your time to do it. I made my slip stitches very tight, so I'm struggling to actually go into them. Okay, all right. I have 2 more slip stitches to go into. Oh, actually, 1 more. This is all of the slip stitches. Worked single crochet into each of them. Now these are the 2 slip stitches at the bottom right here, the ones that we made. Okay, in these 2 slip stitches we are going to decrease. All right, these slip stitches at the middle, we're going to decrease with single crochet. All right, single crochet and into the next slip stitch. So what we're doing now is SC2 together in 2 slip stitches. We want to make those 2 slip stitches 1. Alright, now we will continue to do single crochets into each of the slip stitches. Okay. Alright, so let's single crochet into the slip stitches. Okay, almost done here. We have one more slip stitch to work into. Okay, look, this is a double crochet last row before we did the single crochet. Alright, so we will work our single crochet into that, and we have one more stitch here, which is the chain one. Remember on round one when we did the slip stitches, when we got to this part before we made the first single crochet, we also did a chain one. So at that point now, in this chain one, we're going to slip stitch to finish the row. I'm going to slip this so that I will use this tail to sew the button. So after we finish this, we're going to weave in all the tails. Any tails you have, let's weave them in, and let's finish. Let's trim the bottom edge right here. We want to insert our hook into the bottom here. And join our yarn. Chain one. We're going to do single crochets, okay, across the stitches. So this is the very first stitch row. I'm going to also do a single crochet in there after the chain one, and in the next stitch row, which is the double crochet, another single crochet, and the next stitch row is single crochet, row, another single crochet. So that's what we want to do. We will do single crochets into each of these stitch rows. So and one more single crochet. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. we've done 7 single crochets on the side here. So on the other side means we're going to do another 7 single crochets. So we'll go to the next side into the row there, the first row. The first row there is the single crochet row which connects to this other one. And the next row. And the last single crochet. 7. I'm going to chain 1 and I'll snip the yarn and weave it in. See that? So I'm going to repeat on the other side. The same thing, 7 single crochets on one side, 7 single crochets on the other side. So after completing your top, weaving in all the tails, block your top. Please block it. I'm telling you, there will be a huge difference when you block it because it will loosen up the material because you know we're using the D.I.Y yarn and a 3.5mm hook which creates it created tight stitching. So when you block it, it's going to loosen it up and it's going to feel better when it is worn. I also noticed that after blocking there was space for more rows. So you can do 2 more rows, repeat 2 more rows at the armhole to make wider with 2 to 3 more rows. You can do that and do it for the same side. All right, just repeat row 4 and do it 2 more times and you're done. So remember to block the top, sew your button, and you're done. I hope you liked making this top, the sunshine on my mind top. And I'll see you in the next tutorial.